lot through these first two games, and that was the message to our team is what do we learn, where are we growing to? Win, loss, however a game goes, it's all about what did we learn and where are we growing to, and sticking with our process, no different. Opponents we play, nameless and faceless, we got to grow every single week. And this we got a great challenge. And Coach Barnum's done a great job at Portland State for a lot of years. I mean, they've knocked off a bunch of FBS opponents through his time there, and I know they're going to be ready to play on Saturday night. I had a good talk with him Saturday. He's doing a great job with this team, so we know our opponent's going to come ready, and I promise you we will be too. We got to handle our process with our urgency, how we perform in practice, and we got to keep growing every single day. But that was our focus during the bye week. We focus on us. How are we going to grow in all three phases? We've had 2 games to self-scout, learn from, grow from, and then let's fix those issues. I met with our leadership group this morning. It was, hey, guys, we've learned a lot through 2 games. We know who we are. We know each position group. We know who we are as players. How do we not have to make the same mistake twice? Learn and grow and keep pushing forward. So I'm proud of how our team did that over the bye week. Had a couple days off and then ready to hit the ground running. We got meetings later tonight and then practice. So cannot wait to get in front of Bronco Nation on the blue. And right now I think Pat was saying we're 91% sold out, fired up for that to be a sellout like JD talks about all the time. 6 games, 6 sellouts, and that's a testament to Bronco Nation. So can't wait for Saturday night. With that, open up with questions.
Spencer, you said you learned a lot about your football team. What do you know about your team now that you didn't know 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think we got a team that'll keep swinging. And you don't know that going in. I also know our team's going to cut it loose on game day in a good way. They are not going to shy away from anything. Weather, heat, kickoff time, opponent stadium. Bronco State football, we will show up and play. Now, there's still a lot of in there that we got to clean up. That does not equal success, but I'm proud of how our team, I know they're going to cut it loose. I know they're going to swing to the final minute, and I'm proud of them with it. With that, there's a lot of things to clean up in there. The 3 things I talked about it last week, I think when we were talking, Prater, is our urgency in everything we do, our practice performance, and blotting out the outside noise. Those are the 3 things I'm going to talk to our team about last week. I'm going to talk to them again because that's huge. Urgency, our attitude and effort in everything we do. And that's all 115 football players, not just maybe the starters on offense, starters on defense, the special team starters. We need that from every single player. We're a developmental program. I talked with our developmental group today that was lifted. Hey, if I want to be the starter, I have to work my absolute tail off in every second, or else I'm going to get passed up and I'm never going to accomplish what I came here to do, which was be a big player on that blue field. And so learn a lot about our team. Now my 3 focuses from a whole program standpoint is everything we do, our urgencies through the roof. We perform in practice. Not coach, I'll get to it on Saturday night, I promise you. We perform in practice at Boise State, and we got to cut the outside noise. And that's hard to do. Right now, so much social media, families, coaches telling you, it could be pats on the back. And the more pats on the back you get, little by little, that chip starts to get knocked off. And there might be negativity out there too. Also, it doesn't move the needle. We have a great opponent coming to Boise, Idaho Saturday night, and we got to handle business from Monday to kickoff to earn the right to win.
Any concern, I guess, with the sickness that those players had on the other team just playing this game? Or?
Yeah, BJ, I mean, I trust, obviously, our doctors. I trust their doctors. Had a great chat with their head coach about all the protocols they're using at us, and so, no, I'm not concerned.
This is the first time we've got to talk to you since last week's big news. Just was going to the Pac-12 mean for the future of your program?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, and that's a testament to JD, Dr. Trump, their leadership pushing us forward. It's obviously been something that's been talked about in Boise, Idaho for a long time, kind of making this jump to a different conference. And so excited for the future. July 1st, 2026, when that comes, it's going to be huge for recruiting. It's going to be just, a big deal in a lot of factors. And so proud of, like I said, JD and Dr. Trump pushing it forward. But we also have 2 more great years with the Mountain West. And that was my talking point to our team was when it came out on Thursday, I believe it was, guys, this is awesome for the future where we're pushing this thing forward to. But right now we've got a phenomenal schedule in place. We've only played 2 games, and that news does not affect this season one. But we're in the Mountain West and are so thankful for this season with them, and they do a great job and can't wait to play these next 2 years in the Mountain West. So it's exciting for the future. July 1st, 2026 will be here before you know it, and I cannot wait to recruit and push forward to that. But right now we're focused on the 2024 season.
Coach, if there was – Coach –
BJ, you had one?
Oh. You said after the game against Oregon, the passing game obviously needs to improve. When you went back and kind of looked at that, and it's not all in the quarterback, but everyone sees the quarterback stats. What do you see in terms of the passing game right now?
Yeah, first off, very proud of how our offensive line protected that game. We had to create a lot of different looks, especially with Roger going down, play 3 of the game. First off, there are some decision makings for Maddox, but Maddox has done a good job through 2 games. Still, a lot to continue to grow and improve on. We got to have some receivers that can go win a one-on-one too. And there's a lot. And I showed our team. There's some clips on film where I asked the team, where do you think Maddox should go with the ball here? Because everybody, when I'm looking at, is covered. We got to find ways to create one. We got to go win one-on-ones. And that was the push to our receiver crew. We got some guys doing a really good job. We need some guys to step up, and I know they're excited to do that.
Was there a plan in place had Portland State maybe not been able to have come? Was it another bye week? Were you guys even putting the motion together to find another opponent that quick?
Yeah, John, with coming out of a bye week, the huge push for me and JD is we know we needed to play a game here. You never want to go in and have 2 weeks off. It's just too much, too long, especially in season. So we were working our tails off. Didn't get into the weeds a ton of it. I know JD was hustling to figure out if it wasn't Portland State, who would it be? But quickly, through a lot of different conversations, me and JD, we knew that we were going to be in a good place to be able to play the game.
Spencer, is there a decision to make between Malachi and Mad Dog for this week, or are you guys going into this weekend with Madsen as the quarterback?
Say that one more time. What was your first part?
Is there a decision to make between Malachi?
Is it going to be a decision?
Yeah.
Right now, Maddox is our starter, and he's done a good job. He's earned it, just like every position. And I say there are still things for Maddox to learn and grow in, but he's doing some really good stuff too. Some really good stuff. And yes, just like everything, when the pass game isn't at the level you want it to, no question. First thing you look at is the quarterback play. And yes, there's some parts in that Oregon game and even Georgia Southern that Maddox will continue to grow and be better. But he's doing some really good stuff too. And right now, he is our starter. Malachi is going to keep working his tail off to grow, and he'll be ready when his opportunity comes. When that is, I do not know. Maddox Madsen's our starter.
Is there anything you can say about Mason or Roger? Is there anything long-term on their status? Or?
Yeah, right now they're not going to be available this weekend, and we're still kind of working through a Beej on a timing on both of them, but right now they won't be available this weekend.
Zach Holmes to just kind of step in, get his first career start. Not a whole lot known about him. So first off, what can you tell us about him? And second off, how impressed were you with the way he played against Oregon?
Yeah, Zach Holmes, man, you talk about a guy that stepped up in a major way with Mason going down, who's one of our best players on our entire team, steps up in that Oregon game and did some really good stuff. And I know Coach Keene does a great job with that group, working them together, and he held his own. He's going to only continue to get better. And I mean, for guys that have met Zach, I mean, he's one of the best young men that I've been around a long time. We have he does a phenomenal Coach D impression. If you guys ever get him, I mean, he can hit some of my one-liners and some of my stuff better. He's got the pencil in the ear. I'll walk by him the hallway and I'll be like, Coach D, and he'll look at me and say, Coach D, and then we'll just keep on, walking by each other. I mean, he's a great young man, loves his teammates. He's got great relationships on here, and he's been obviously working his absolute butt off to be ready for those opportunities. And when his number got called, which it was last Saturday or whatever it was against Oregon, he was ready.
You brought up the passing game. And last year there was a lot of outside noise from probably this group and others. Wide receivers in terms of creating separation as a group. There might be one game here or one player there. You just kind of brought that up as the wide receiver role moving forward, getting better. How do you work on creating separation? How do you get that to be a better factor for your football team?
Yeah, first off, start some practice. And we got a great group of receivers that do work their tails off. We need to take a big step. And Coach Miller does a really good job with those guys. And now it's, okay, if I want to be in a situation to make the big catch in a game or have the yards that I want in a game, I have to perform that way in practice. If I can't make that catch or create separation in practice, as a coach, I cannot put you in that situation. And that's my message to the receivers and anybody else on our team. With 115 guys on a football team, there's a lot of guys that want more reps, special teams, offense, defense, receivers, want the ball more. You have to perform in practice. And guys that do that will get opportunities. And then what they do with that opportunity on Saturday night will either turn into more opportunities or less. But that's where I look to everything. Is it's all about what I do in practice. That gives you and earns you the right to have an opportunity to do in the game. And then at that point, we evaluate the game to see where we're going from there. Good question.
You said for Maddox Madsen there's room to improve, room to grow. Just what are you looking for specifically from him this week and going forward?
Yeah, there were a couple different reads in the game against Oregon that I know he's going to do better going forward. A couple balls that, getting nitpicky could have been in better spots. But he's doing a phenomenal. There's a couple big-time throws in the game that we got to come down with the receiver. Like we talked about, we got to get separation in some of these one-on-one situations and putting him in good spots. But, I mean, against the front we saw against Oregon, to have, one sack, a lot of that's testament to our offensive line, tight ends, tailbacks, a great pressure plan to pick up those pressures. But a lot of it's Maddox being very smart with the ball too. No interceptions in that game, huge part of it. So there's a lot of things that doesn't get talked about that helps our football team continue to grow and help our team be on schedule. We got to do a better job winning first down. That was a big talk last week as an offense. There were some, I think we had 5 3-and-outs against Oregon, and that's a lot of it's being efficient on first down. So we're not playing 2nd and 10, 3rd and 9, which is then the favors in the opposing defense. So, and Maddox, for those guys that know him, that's one of the biggest competitors I've ever been around. You talk about a guy that will live in here to improve his craft and will always be on the attack to improve. That's Maddox Madsen.
When you looked back on the film of the 2 return touchdowns, what stood out the most there?
First off, leverage across the board. And, I mean, it's what I mean by that is if I'm running down on punt or I'm running down on kickoff, and if I'm a right shoulder leverage, if you have the ball, BJ, if I'm running down, I'm a right shoulder leverage. So I'm counting on all the rest of my teammates are counting on me keeping that ball on my right shoulder. If all of a sudden I work away from that leverage, it cuts off the rest of our defense. Leverage was through the roof. I mean, on the kickoff, there's 4 guys unblocked to make this tackle, and he cuts back on us, and 3 guys lose their leverage. Once again, it's on me as the head coach. We obviously didn't do a good enough job repping it. I've been open about the fact Stacey Collins is the best special teams coordinator in the country. I will stand on that, no questions asked. We got to make sure our urgency from practice to performing in practice on these special teams unit to guys that are the scout look on special teams. If I'm the kickoff return unit going against our kickoff team, that look has to be the same look as if we're playing on Saturday night. No different on offense and defense. But leverage was the biggest thing that showed up, BJ, and we got to have guys that can go down there and make that tackle. And so it's going to be competition through the roof, and they did a really good job. Obviously, last week in the bye week, you hate to lose a game and have to have that pain to use that as fuel, but it did. And it wasn't the only reason we lost that game, but it obviously had a huge part in it. 14 points is a huge part. And so the leverage, making sure the right guys are in the right spots, especially on our cover units, and continue to grow our specialists to make sure we can kick that ball out. I mean, that's the luxury that some schools have is they know their kicker's going to kick it out of the end zone every time. We're going to keep growing these things. So it's multifaceted. We're also going to look at a bunch of different ways to make sure, even schematically, we're on the cutting edge on kickoff and punt to make sure, especially against an elite returner like Oregon had, and we're going to continue to see elite returners week in and week out. We've got to have better answers.
Spencer, why are American sports fans obsessed with quarterbacks?
It's a great question. I mean, I played quarterback in high school, as you guys can tell. I mean, Horizon High School's finest, man. I probably threw the ball twice. No, but it's, I don't know. It's a good question. I think just like anything, it's something that it's when you're a fan of a sports team, especially football, and you're going to know one player, you're going to know the quarterback. Everything he does, I mean, he touches the ball every single play, and they're going to either be the guy that's loved and carried off the field or vice versa. And so I think it's just, the American culture and what it is with football. It's been a part of our culture for so long. It's an amazing game that teaches you about life, and I think the quarterback who touches the ball every single time is an easy target.
What does Portland State do that stands out for you?
Yeah, first off, I mean, these guys play hard. I mean, like I said, Coach Barnum, I think the world of him, known him for a little bit, and he's, done it at a high level in the Big Sky. And they've consistently over the years, they've beaten multiple FBS schools, beaten some Pac-12 schools over the years too in his time. And I know they're going to be ready to play us. Offensively, they got a quarterback that can run all over the place. He's been a matchup issue in every game last year, and even these couple games they've had. It's tough to get him. It's 3rd and 10 if everybody's covered. He's not, and he's out of there, and he can run to get a first down. They got a swing tailback receiver, number 17, that does a great job catching the ball in the backfield. They got a San Jose State transfer receiver that does some really good things, number 2. On defense, these guys, they fly around, and they're still kind of finding their identity. They do some similar things to us. Tyrese is Khalil's brother, Shakir, and he's a great kid, really good player for him. He plays field corner for him. So I'm excited to see him again. He's growing into be a really good player for him as a senior. They got a linebacker. Their Mike linebacker makes a ton of plays. He's got a couple sacks. I think he's got 19 tackles through 2 games. So, they're going to play hard. They're well coached. They're not going to be afraid of coming in and playing on the blue against Boise State. They played at Wazoo, at Weber. They played against a bunch of big. This is not going to wow them. We got to be ready to play, and they're going to be extremely well coached and play hard.
You touched on at the beginning, but to literally be the only FBS team that hasn't had a home game yet, the new sound system. You get to have the lights going for the night game. Just close to a sellout, just the tailgating all day. I mean, just to have a football game back in this stadium on Saturday. What's the excitement level?
Yeah, BJ. I mean, I can't wait. And I was actually talking with Prater and Johnny the other day. My first home game on the Blue was 2017. We played Troy at home. It was a day game. And I'll never forget running out that tunnel and just the feeling of Bronco Nation on the Blue. And this is before the lights and some of the new sound stadium and the new scoreboard. And it's just, there's nothing like it in college football. And I believe that. I don't believe there's any better place to play college football than on the Blue right here in Boise, Idaho. I mean, it's a place where their fan base loves their team. No matter what time kickoff is, they will be there. I am a firm believer that this game will be a sellout Saturday night. And there's so much tradition with the Blue Field. There's one of the winningest teams at home over the past 2 decades. And I'm talking to our team, like, guys, that's why this facility is built, is you had a group of guys for decades that when they played a game on the Blue, they found a way to win. And that's got to be our team. I mean, we've lost too many games on the Blue over the years. I've been a part of a lot of those. We got to get it right. We got to fix it. When we come home to play on the Blue in front of Bronco Nation, at home, in Boise, Idaho, we got to find a way to win. And there's so much legacy, so much tradition with it. And I even told some of our new coaches that haven't had a home game on the Blue yet, like, guys, get ready. There's nothing louder. There's nothing more exciting than playing in Albertson Stadium. And so I can't wait.
Andrew Simpson's been a disruptor for you guys on defense through the first 2 games. I mean, obviously we knew last year what he had, but what's he added this year to his game?
Yeah, Drew's did a really good job, and I'm proud of him and how he's continued to fine-tune his game. And as we all well know, I mean, we use Drew in a lot of different ways. We put him in a lot of different spots. He can do a lot of stuff in the front 7. Like I've talked, he's one of the best blitzing linebackers we've had here. And he's even been able to fine-tune his tool belt to where it's not just some of the chaos he's creating with the blitzes, but he's also his read and react skills, his plays in coverage. Like, he's done a really good job through 2 games. I'm excited for him to even take another big step. He plays in a bunch of different roles. He's involved in every single package we got from – we got multiple packages on defense. He's involved in some form or fashion in every single one of them, and his game's continually going to grow. And I'm excited for the game he's going to play this weekend, and even as he grows through the end of the season. But I mean, we do so much with Drew. He's a great young man. He's been working his tail off, and the things that he struggled with and need to learn, he wants to learn and grow. He wants to be elite, and that's us walking the path with him. But he's done some really good things, and I promise you, his best football is in front of him if he continues to work.
You mentioned the O-line. I mean, just with being out, 2 projected starters, I mean, when you look back at that game, Oregon's front, and just what they did, how impressive has their 2 games been overall so far? And also, what kind of challenge is this when you start going down to, 6, 7, further down the line? Yeah,
obviously with anything, BJ, I mean, I'm so proud of how they responded in Georgia Southern and obviously in Oregon with down 2 stars, 2 of our best players on our entire team. And especially with the O-line, like Prater even brought up, they don't get as much love because everyone's talking about the quarterback or the receiver or the tight end, which we all totally get that. None of this happens without the offensive line protecting and blocking. None of it. And Coach Keene does a phenomenal job with those guys. Coach Potter with our run game. And just a group that gels together. I mean, 2 starters down, 2 of our better players. Hey, next man up. Let's go. And Zach Holmes, TK have stepped up, done a really good job, had a great week last week. Now, for us going forward, we got to continually build the depth of that O-line, especially for we've only played 2 games. And that was even something I talked to our team about, is usually you have bye weeks kind of, week 6, week 7, you can kind of look back on multiple games. We had 2 games. So, guys, we haven't even played conference yet. We have not even begun to really write our story. So whatever you feel good or bad about, right now is the time to learn and grow and fix it. But 2 games in with our offensive line, with the starters we have down, proud of how they've gelled together, BJ, proud of how they competed, and I know they're going to continue to get better as the year goes. We got to continue to build depth, though, and especially in the interior of our offensive line, because you just never know how that's going to go.
I mean, who is now, I guess, 8, 9, 10, or who are the next couple of guys that you're needing to have ready just in case?
Yeah, Jason Steele's done some really good stuff. He's grown a ton. Carson Rasmussen, who's local kid's done some really good things. He's going to keep learning, growing. Jake Steele hopefully will be healthy here shortly. Jason's brother transferred from San Jose State. So those are a couple guys just in the interior that we need to continue to learn and grow and come along. We've been healthy at tackle. Cage Casey's played really well these first 2 games. Hall's done a good job coming into his first year starting. But even the depth of tackle, we got to make sure we continue to learn and grow those guys, because you just never know. Good questions.
Anything else? All right.
Guys, appreciate it. Appreciate it, fellas.